Hello and welcome to this new incredible podcast here in BC and City. Hashtag in this together. I'm your host, Federico, of course. So guys, today I want to show you a little bit one of the most incredible topic that I think right now is banging on the internet. And I hear constantly people say, well, you know what, I should go seeing a therapist, or I shouldn't, or should I? Do I have a medical condition? Do I have to go there? I'm forced to? Well, if I'm not sick, why should I go? Because it's good to have a person that can listen to you and helping you out, sorting out the problems in the mental clutter, the mental clutter that we create every single day in our life, in our mind. So it's good to have someone to talk to. So what are the 8 possible signs that you need to see a therapist? Or at least you should try to give it a shot. If you feel overwhelmed, by what's going on in your life, in your working life, in your relationship life, if you feel overwhelmed and you cannot move on by yourself alone, well, you should try to give it a shot. Finding just a person that can listen to you will enhance greatly your power. If you have many issues to cope with, well, that could be a very good way to relax a little bit. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, please take into consideration the fact that you could go see a therapist. The second sign is fatigue. If you feel fatigue, constant fatigue, chronic fatigue, well, that could be a sign that you should possibly have some sort of mental condition. I'm not a medical doctor, so I'm not saying that if you're fatigued, then you're forced to go. No, absolutely not. Let's say you should try, because maybe that fatigue is not physical fatigue, but it's mental fatigue due to stress, due to bad kind of toxic relationships, whatever it might be. But just give it a shot. I'm not saying forced to go. No one's forced to do nothing, but just give it a shot. Because if you feel a disproportionate rage or anger or resentment, then you should definitely give it a shot. Because those feelings can really hamper your life. Those feelings can really hump you in your relationships, in your everyday life. If you're relaxed and calm, well, then it's much more easier to proceed in your normal life. Even with your family, even with your peers, you will have a great time. You just want to hang out with friends. You just want to relax yourself and to live your life at your fullest. But if you're resentful and you're full of rage, and I have to acknowledge the fact, and I just want to point out that I felt that rage coming in for myself during the COVID pandemic. During the lockdown, I was feeling so incredible resentful. Oh, why the heck is this thing happening right now? Why should I stay locked down? Why should I stay locked in my house, in my apartment? I don't want to. That was stressful. If you're feeling really, really angry, well, then maybe it's time to dissipate that anger. Try to talk about it. Just talking about that anger could lead to further improvements. Talk about that anger. Please do it. Agoraphobia. Agoraphobia, such a difficult condition. Maybe you're on the metro, maybe you're on the underground line, maybe you're on the tube, and in that moment everything sparks. Everything from scratch, your mind starts saying, flee, please flee, run away. And that's a hard part to get to, that's a hard part to control. And you start feeling anxious, and you start feeling these incredible panic attacks, this flashing from the within. And and you become trapped. You feel trapped, and you don't know how to move on. That's incredible. So if you're starting feeling that way, these kind of panic attacks are more common. Some people sometimes cannot leave their home, their apartment, because they're so scared of what might happen afterwards. What might happen if maybe they're stuck on a bus and they start feeling anxious. They don't want to get out. So maybe it could be a good way to be proactive instead of being reactive and trying to control that feeling from the beginning. Here, my friends, I have to stop for a bit because this is one of the most difficult part that I ever had. Because this is one of the greatest problems that I still be having in my experience, which is anxiety and intrusive thoughts. So the famous or infamous ANTs, automatic negative thoughts. Anxiety is a coping mechanisms, and it's a survival mechanism. So it helps us a lot doing many different things. But at the same time, when it becomes like overwhelming, that is really disrupting our normal life, and it becomes incredibly tough to manage throughout the day. Did you ever experience, that you have a quick thought that you were never even thinking about it, but at the same time, in that moment, you say, oh, am I that bad? Or why the heck should I be thinking about, I don't know, or throwing a punch to a friend, for example, and you start ruminating on that thought, and you start saying, well, am I bad? Am I a bad person because I have this kind of intrusive thought? No, please don't think you're a bad person or just you are sick because you're thinking. Those are just thoughts, and we are not our thoughts. Changing a little bit your perspective, just trying to shifting your perspective to a more rational thinking, trying just to rationalize things over a little bit more. The sixth sign that you should go and you should want to see a therapist is apathy. So if you're feeling that you're losing total interest in usual activities or doing whatever you experienced in the past that you really wanted to do, but at the same time, right now you're feeling you're a little bit stuck, you're feeling lethargic all day, you don't want to do things, well then, talk. We have this tool, talking. Try to open up a little bit. Then, seventh and penultimate sign that you should want to see is hopelessness. So when you're feeling that everything in your life is ruined, everything in your life is gone, right now you feel hopeless. Well, hopelessness can lead, and I know from stories that I read, of course, that can lead to incredible harm, personal harm, even to having suicidal thoughts. And definitely, if you're feeling hopeless, you should definitely try to go see someone who can help you. And someone who can really understand what's going on in your mind. I'm not capable of doing so because I'm not a psychotherapist, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a psychiatrist, so I'm not an MD, I'm not a medical doctor, so I don't know. But someone who can really shift your perspective and start feeling hopeful again. start to seeing your life in a different way, in a different perspective, from a different side, and changing your perspective can really enhance you and yourself. And the last one, my friends, the eighth and final one is social withdrawal. Introverted people may need some even more time with themselves with respect to extroverted people. But if you always felt that you were an extroverted people and you start feeling that you don't want to be around people anymore, well, of course you can just detach yourself a little bit, for a period of time and see how it evolves, how it goes. But if that social withdrawal, or maybe even worse, if you're constantly, if it's worsening, stopping for a moment and say, why is this happening to me? I've always been a people's person. I am a people's person. And sometimes when I want to be alone with myself, of course, it's not mandatory that you have a disease. Of course not. I'm just saying, if I felt for months and months and months that kind of feeling, then I will start questioning myself, wondering, why is this happening to me? Why I don't want to be around people? Why is this thing happening to me? I could ask someone else. I could ask someone who knows, who could maybe help me. So those, my friends, were the 8 signs that you should want at least to give it a shot to see a psychotherapist or a therapist in general. And my last advice, it's just a feeling, it's just a thought that I have. It's, you don't have to be ashamed. Don't feel ashamed. Because everyone in this planet Earth need a little bit of help. There are some people who can hide it better. Some people cannot hide it that good and that well. But please don't feel ashamed. There's nothing to be ashamed of. And I personally think, I had a period in my life when I needed a person. I needed a person desperately. I was needing help. And it was very hard. It was a very hard moment. It was a difficult moment for me. But at the same time I said, Federico, you need help. You need professional help, because that person can lead you to have a better life, a better experience. And for me, that was incredible. That was life changing. So please, if you're feeling all these signs or even other signs, please just try. Please, guys, don't feel ashamed. Because I think that decision is maybe the most courageous and brave you could ever do for yourself. Because you're saying, now you basically swallow your own ego and say, no, I cannot cope with that. And now I will try to find help in another person's advice. That's, for me, my friends, that's the most incredible and maybe the bravest thing and action you could ever do for yourself. Well, if you found this video useful or at least enjoyable, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would love to see you in the comment section. I would love to see you on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on TikTok, wherever it might be. Could be a really life-changing moment, because remember, guys, we're all in this together. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next episode. Bye-bye. Subscribe. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.